Hey guys, been a while, I know, but gotten back into the swing of playing League recently, and had this game, which I thought would be a cool game to VOD review because it's unlike a lot of standard games where you play well, you get ahead, and in the other game, and you just win, or you have like winning lanes as a jungler and you just win, and obviously like the other side of that too, where like all your lanes lose and you lose. Like this is a unique game in the sense that pretty much all my lanes lose. Um, some of it is not particularly their fault, but what ends up happening is that all my lanes lose. We have to play from behind. I'm basically the only guy who's ahead at any point. I think my mid laner might be ahead at certain points as well, actually. But for the most part, I'm the catalyst into getting us back into the game. Um, so I think there's a lot of good takeaways here from playing behind, about playing from behind. And for added context, I am the lowest OP player in this game. At the time of this game, I believe I was 200 OP. Technically, I think this guy, Vasemeyer's account, and TSM Winston on that account might have been lower LP, but this is a Smurf. I believe Winston's main account's about 1,000 LP. Vasemeyer's main account is about 1,200 LP. And a lot of pro players in this game too. I believe this is Ryoma from 100 Thieves. This is Dokla from TSM Academy. This is Keith from GGS Academy. Winston from TSM Academy. This is Darshan from GGS Academy, and this is Bob Jenkins from TL Academy. So not like a game full of like nobodies, not a game of just like me smurfing on noobs. In fact, you could make a pretty easy argument that I'm the worst player in this game. But it just goes to show that you play intelligently, good things can happen. So right off the bat, a couple things to explain. I like Phase Rush over Conqueror on Hecarim nowadays. I think Conqueror is less useful in more situations. I think there are situations where Conqueror is better, but I generally prefer Phase Rush because it gives you more agency in a lot of the fights you take. Um, Also, is a lot better for escaping and not giving away shutdowns when you're snowballing. And Hecarim is a snowball character. You should be looking to snowball all the time. Obviously, you're not going to snowball every time, but Phase Rush helps you snowball more than Conquer, in my opinion, and also helps you maintain the shutdowns to keep the snowballing going. As for why I win Ignite, I alternate between Ignite and Ghost. I never go Flash. I think it's bad on Hecarim. I take the Ignite here because they have two targets who are pretty decent to Ignite if I'm ganking, in Silas and Renekton, who have, large amounts of healing, and also for the 1v1 against Volibear, um, he has a lot of healing. It is backloaded, but the Ignite helps me kill him before he gets to the backloaded healing, and also helps if I do get into a long fight with him. I don't have Conquer. He has PTA, so his Keystone is better than mine for extended fights, but the Ignite helps me shorten the fight to not be extended. So that's the justification behind all the setup. I run Boots Cosmic as my splash because I generally do not like to fight too much in the early game as Hecarim because he has very good clear, as you'll see. I tailor my playstyle around that. So I start bottom here. I don't really like making my bot lane leash a lot of the time, but I do it here because I feel like he's going to start bottom as well because neither top laner wants to leash in this matchup. And if I start like Rafters or I do Leashless Red, I'll be behind him in tempo a lot, and I actually do want to try to fight him in the early game because I have Ignite. So that's why I make my bot lane leash here. I typically prefer Blue Start on Hecarim, but did not think it was really feasible in this game. So I smite Krugs here. Basically, the main reason I smite Krugs here is because I believe it is generally there are two camps, or there are three viable camps to smite a Hecarim. There's Rafters, there's Krugs, and there's Blue, because of the armor values on these camps. I'm going for a 2 smite clear because I don't care too much about having smite at the crab. because I'll be full HP at the crab if I'm double smiting, and I should beat him there if I'm double smiting. So saving my smite for blue. Smiting Rafters is not great on the first clear because of like you see there, like the minis die around the same time as the big one without the smite, so the smite is kind of inefficient because you would just be hitting small camps, the small Rafters anyway. I put 2 points in Q here for faster clear because I'm not going to be looking for any ganks. None of the soul lanes are really in gankable spots, and the second point in Q shaves very large amounts of time off of the clear. Center stuff, pulling the Q stacks between camps. We're basically matching clear here. Volbear is typically a full clear, and I know this, so that also further affirms my decision to want to put 2 points in the Q. Grab the EF4 for the river fight. So we're basically just mirroring each other here. He chooses not to finish all the minis. So this is kind of an unfortunate play. My top laner is trying to crash the wave. I know he's trying to crash the wave. I'm going to finish, my plan is to finish Gromp and cover him. But the Volibear jumps the play a little bit, like he leaves some minis down. Obviously, there's a little bit of variance always when you leash. If he got maybe a worse leash and he finished the Krugs, like maybe I make it up for this counter gank. But the way things go, I don't make it up. I realize very quickly that he's dead, so I do what I'll call like a cheater crab. In where I know he's gonna come to the crab, and my only chance of getting it is to finish it and push it away from the side that he's on to get it before he gets there, because I can't fight, or I shouldn't fight, because my top laner is gonna be dead. He could TP back in and get into a fight, but it's not really a 2v2 I'd want to take anyway. Because Renekton is going to be stronger than Lilia if he TP's back. So I just try to get the crab ASAP. That's why I blow my E on it immediately. I push it down to get it away from the Volibear that I know is coming from top side, and I get the crab. So even though he gets the assist on the top lane gank, it's not the end of the world. My top laner can TP back and or walk back if the Renekton chooses to push like he is here. And so this is, and so he's going to be fine. So this is a pretty interesting play. I'll rewind it a little bit here. So I'm finishing crab here, and I see him on my ward, and I see he's blown Q. I know his Q is a pretty long cooldown in the early game, and I'm gonna cross because I don't want to get caught in the river and fight. My mid laner is pretty low on mana. There's a pretty scary 2v2, and he makes a mistake of blowing his E on the wave here. I'm assuming he's blowing the E on the wave here because he doesn't want to get harassed by Syndra. Maybe he was a little bit afraid I would turn on him, but both of his spells are down on a long cooldown, so I'm thinking, hey, I have Ignite, this guy's spells are down, let's take a fight. Unfortunately for me, my bot lane needs to reset here, and the enemy bot lane has teleport, and their support is already moving. Mine is kind of trapped in lane because they're waiting for this wave to crash, and I don't recognize this fast enough. I just have been watching this play, and I think I can get the kill on him with the Ignite here. So I jump him. He has no spells, as you can see. Like, his Q just came up, his E is still down. He W'd me, but W1 is really weak. This is kind of where the Ignite that I was talking about earlier comes into play. He can't even, if he didn't get this Thresh Lantern, he actually would have just died without actually getting the W2 used in a meaningful manner. Fortunately, he does get the Lantern. Their support moves first, which is to be expected, given that they have Prio. I back off because I can't chase into the Thresh. He gets away, which is fine. Like, in an ideal world, like, my support's moving up, I should just get the crab and dip because he's too low. Their AD carry can move, but my mid laner is about equal with the enemy mid laner. I'm obviously way more healthy than the enemy jungler. My support is, he's even if he wasn't healthier, it's like, even if he was just like equal to the enemy support, it's like it's looking like a fine play. Especially so once my mid laner hits the stun, I start moving to help, but I realize he's got the kill, so I start moving to try to get the crab, because I just want to get this crab and go back to farming my camps, because my second respawn of camps are coming up, and you just want to be getting resources really early on Hecarim. Your warrior spike is super strong, your Trinity 4 spike is super strong. You just want to amass resources, but they don't want to give up this crab. So what ends up happening is the Ezreal starts TPing in, and the Renekton has actually already been TPing in as the Syndra's been killing the Sylas. I can't do anything here. I just accept that whatever happens here happens. He burned Flash to kill Sylas. The Renekton's gonna kill him. There's nothing I can do about this. What I can do something about is we can try to blow up. We could try to blow up this Ezreal as he's TPing in. So in my mind, I'm just getting the most heal I can from my W off the crab, because I already committed to pressing W. Pressing W is probably a mistake. I should have saved it for this fight. But committing, just doing as much damage as I can to get the maximum healing off the W before I turn into this fight. Get the charge off on Ezreal. Ignites at a pretty good time. Unfortunately, they all make it back. My Tristana, he based, he didn't run to the fight. And the Ezreal gets everything off, unfortunately, on me before he dies, so I get bursted out here. We trade back a little bit, but they just have more TPs than us. My mid went Ignite, my AD went Heal, so they just have more people there than us, and their Nectin's 4-0. So the ramifications from this play are pretty huge. I'm now behind the enemy jungler, much less so than my top laner is behind. My mid laner is like overall fine. None of the kills into Sylas. 4 kills on Renekton. So what immediately happens is my top laner is really screwed. His wave's bad. The enemy top is 4 kills, and he just blew TP and died. So he has to walk back to lane with a bad wave. It's really not the end of the world for me. I lose what little of blue buff I had left, but I got 2 assists. I still got top crab. He hasn't even gotten bot crab yet. Granted, he got a kill, so he's up in goal on me, but it's not the end of the world for me, at the very least. I still have camps to farm, so I'm not in the worst spot, but my top laner is essentially out of the game. So that'll become important as we continue on this replay. So just farm out for a bit, and my mindset... your mindset has to shift with how the game's going, but that'll become relevant pretty soon. Not exactly at this moment. So my top laner cannot lane, essentially. Like the enemy Renekton has double buffs, his wave's bad, and obviously he has 4 kills, so just walking in the lane means death. So he goes for a roam mid here. I kind of misplay. I should be supporting it more than I am. I'm just kind of like tunneled on getting my camps because I am not really behind the Volibear, but I will fall behind the Volibear if I'm not farming efficiently. So I'm like kind of tunneling on the camps. The Sylas starts escaping downwards, so I have to come to this play. They long chase, and here I make a conscious decision to go after the Sylas instead of helping my mid laner. My mid laner has no flash. There's no guarantee that even if I E the Volibear here, that he lives. He's getting full comboed. I believe we see... Okay, we don't even see the Thresh anymore, but we're aware that he's moving. I believe it's been pinged. So I just make the conscious decision to secure the Sylas kill here. Because the worst thing that could happen here is I.e. the Volibear, he ends up killing Syndra anyway. Lilia doesn't have enough damage to finish off the Sylas because he gets a Lantern, or just escapes with the Blast Plant, and we get nothing from this play when our top laner is committing basically a ton of resources to make this play happen. So I make the decision to commit for the Sylas kill. Syndra dies, but one of the things you have to accept when you're behind is that you will not get perfect plays, both in terms of risk, like you have to make riskier plays more often than not when you're behind, and also you're gonna have to make more low percentage plays and accept 1-for-1s or 1-for-2s, or like sometimes even taking like non player advantageous trades for the sake of just getting more gold to finish items and get on spikes. So that's largely what plays into my decision there to go for the Sylas, and you'll see that multiple times as we go through this game because we're playing from the back foot ever since that early gameplay. So I shadow for a little bit, but the Renekton looks like he's gonna base, so I don't need to cover my top laner on the dive. I just go to farm my camps. So I'm actually up EXP for a little bit here. I believe he's digging 6 on that camp, but I'm ready 6 and doing the wolves. Take my base here to buy, I believe I have enough for here, right? No, just Warhammer. Unfortunate. Actually, oh no, I'm waiting for warrior. Okay, so he's gonna be about equal XP with me as he finishes all of that. I believe gold is pretty close. Oh, he's actually. Oh, he got kills. He got more kills, so he got the kill on Syndra. That's right. So he's still up on me. But I have Warrior. He has Cinder Hulk. This is usually a spike that favors me. He has boots. I have free boots coming. But yeah, still behind overall. Mid actually is less behind than I am, but yeah, all my other lanes, as you can see from the gold graph here, we're doing pretty bad. Which is to be expected, you know, when a play like that goes bad in the early game, this is what's to be expected. So I go here to start farming out bot side because it's the first side that's respawning, just finished my top side. Once again, I'm in the mentality of acquire resources, play low variance, take good plays when they happen. Unfortunately, I actually get Ezreal ulted here on accident by as he's killing my Braum with it. He's just trying to kill my bot lane. I'm just walking through bot to get to my Krugs, and it sees me. They actually ping me out, but they don't respect the pings, I guess, or maybe they just don't care. So I just get in here, easy fear, blow up the thresh real quick. Not really anything that's going to happen to Ezreal. We just don't have the resources to commit to finishing him off. You know, my Tristana's not super healthy. I blew my E and my R on the thresh, so there's just a quick little play. It's, you know, a quick little 300 gold injection, very low risk. Even if Volibear's there, it's pretty unlikely he can really do anything to us. My R just goes through the Thresh. Like, my RE combo is so fast that even if Thresh gets a flay off or something, it doesn't really affect me. So these are the plays you want to be looking for when you're behind. It's just like quick little gold injections, and it doesn't cost me a lot of time. So I can just go right back into farming the rest of my camps here, and continuing to try to be relevant behind. So my mid laner is under threat here. I don't actually know if we even saw Volibear on my Raptors, actually. This is something that I wasn't even aware of happened in the real game. Looks like my Braum crossed him. Yeah, like ships in the night. Yeah, ships in the night. Kind of funny. So we start setting up for a mid play. Unbeknownst to us, they're also setting up for a mid play. And once again, I take the guaranteed kill on the Sylas. Don't overchase or anything. I don't have ulti. I don't have a lot of mana. You know, once again, you want to take high percentage plays as much as possible when you're behind. You accept sometimes they won't happen, but you want to look for them as much as possible. The Sylas is the free kill there. Take it. Go back to farming. So here, and my decision to go topside here might surprise some people instead of going. So I don't know that my Raptors are down because we never saw a Volibear do them. So from my perspective, you might be thinking, oh, red buff's up, Raptors are up. Why do you go topside? And the reason for that is my mid laner is dead, my bot laner is stuck under tower. We're not stronger than their bot lane, and I don't have my ulti. I'm pretty low on mana. If he walks to my red buff, I have to give it up. And this is a pretty high MMR game, like I said. I assume they will make the right play, which is walk to my red, push me off of it because they know they're stronger on that side. So I don't even bother with it. I say, I'm going to go secure my top side before the Renekton has a chance to push his lead and take my top side camps or anything like that. And I just completely concede. And because of it, I'm ahead. I'm gaining some tempo on him, even while behind. He's going for a bot side gank that my bot lane sees coming. Obviously, it's unfortunate that they're going to lose creeps, but the alternative would be like we go and try to fight them, and I die. We'd probably all die, and we would just lose the game straight there. Because the thing you have to understand, when you're behind as a team, but you individually aren't that behind, a lot of the onus for decisions and like coming back into the game depends on you. If my Tristana dies, he's already down like 1,000 gold. Being down 1,300 gold versus being down 1,000 gold isn't like the biggest deal in the grand scheme of things. If I die and I go from being ahead or even with a Volibear to like 500 gold behind from the Volibear, because he would also take my camps off of killing me or any other assists on anybody else who dies next to me or plates he shares or the dragon, that's much worse because if I'm not strong enough to make a play to if I'm not strong enough to mitigate for my teammates' weaknesses, then we're like super screwed. So what ends up happening here, this is What I see happening here is I'm trying to cover for my top laner because we realize that their Renekton is going to try to freeze this wave. This is one of the only. This is one of the last chances I would say for a while that I would really have a chance to look on the Renekton, because here I have both summoners. He's got a decent amount of gold he hasn't spent. He doesn't have any armor yet. My top laner has his Seekers stacked up to a decent extent. He has no ulti. It's like if we're ever going to get a chance to really try to attack him and get the shutdown, this is one of the better opportunities. Fortunately, he gets the flash off, gets the E through, and we can't stop him from freezing. But I think he actually ends up pushing it after this kill for some reason. So it's funny. In a way that play actually, even though we died, it's like he ended up not freezing off of it. So worked out to an extent. So going back to farm camps, my Braum is defending my red. I don't actually particularly care about defending my red too much here. I'd accepted that it was gone, but they're able to push them off because they wasted so much time doing whatever they did earlier in bottom. So I actually end up getting my red anyway, even though I'd accepted giving it up. I realized the way Silas is walking that he knows that I'm in the area. I just check the normal spot for pink. There it is. Kill it. Go along. Keep going along my day of farming all my camps. So, even though that early game play at like 4 minutes or whatever, where we all died, uh, I've actually, despite all of that, I've actually gotten to a point where, I'm ahead of the enemy jungler off of just making high percentage plays and not over forcing. This is something that I feel that people often fall into a trap of. They fall behind and they feel like the only thing they can do is continue to force, when that just like isn't the case on most champs. I think on some champs, like maybe like the Lee Sins, the Elisas, you don't farm well, you don't scale well, you do have more urgency placed on you than a champ like Hecarim or a champ like Karthus or something who they farm well, they scale pretty well. You don't have to force. Um, but even on those like Lee Sin Elise champs, it's like the main point of a lot of what I'm describing and showing here is that you shouldn't overforce just because you're behind. So I believe I just finished this camp and I reset. Nope. Oh, I did reset. Okay. So, oh yeah. So this actually is interesting. I have a lot of gold. So normally this is a huge red flag for me. This entire play is looking like a huge red flag to me because I have a lot of gold. I want to spend it because I know I'll be one of the strongest guys on the Rift once I do spend it. However, there are a couple things that go into my head when I see this play. First, I see that we're actually not in a terrible position. My mid laner has a lot of resources, and he's moving to the play at a pretty decent time. My top laner will most likely arrive to the play if he wants to arrive at the play before the enemy top laner. Both bot laners are stuck in lane. And this is actually like a huge favor for us because the two biggest deficits on our team are bot lane and top lane. As you can see on the goal here, he's down 1,000 because he's down so much CS. Obviously, he's down CS and all the kills from the early game fiasco that happened. So this is a play where they're committing a lot of resources to catch our support. I know these two guys haven't based or actually he's based recently, but I know the Volibear hasn't based recently because he's still missing health. So he hasn't spent a lot of his gold too. We can see all the items here. Despite the fact that I haven't spent a lot and I do have more to spend than him, Warrior Spike is still generally stronger than Cinderhulk Spike, and I have a level lead, I have double buffs, I have my ulti, I have Ignite. This is looking like a play where, yes, there is risk attached to it. What could happen is the Braum gets straight one shot. My guys don't make it in time to help out on the play. Maybe Renekton TPs before because he can read that this play's gonna go wrong or whatever. Yes, this is not as low a risk of the play. This is not as low a risk of play as some of the other ones I've been making, but. This goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier. When you're behind, you can't always look for those 100-0 plays, especially, or especially against like better players. They're not going to give it to you. But given the circumstances of everything I see here, this is a play where it's like this is an acceptable risk given the game state. So they commit a lot on the Braum. I get exhausted. I immediately get a fear off and try to dip out here. They're overextended here. My Syndra can pick up the 1 kill on him. We take it and we leave, or we should leave. So yeah, that is. So it looks. After you watch the play, you're like, wow, we committed all these ultis, all these summoners, and we got 1 kill. But it's like, hey man, when you're behind, like I said, you gotta take what you can get. So take my base here now. All my camps are down except Gromp, which I'm not gonna run to when I have 2k gold on me, and I get to spend here. So does he just get soloed here? What goes on here? Looks like a solo. Yeah, nothing I can really do about this. You know, I'm just running to my topside camps. I don't have ulti up. I don't really want to make plays without my ulti because now I am unequivocally the strongest guy on my team. I would know this even without looking at the gold. You know, there's not a lot of CS on my solos. Obviously, I have the most kills on my team, and I also have the most CS on my team actually too. So I am very clearly the strongest guy on my team. If we're going to mount a comeback, it's almost certainly going to be off the back of what I do. So I have to be very careful about where I spend my time. So it looks like my top laner is getting dove, or he's posturing for a dive. So I suspected they were on the rift. Turns out they're not on the rift. I see the Volibear, and I want to get the kill, but once again, he flashes out. I don't overchase because the Renekton's here. You know, I take what I can get, and I leave. Their mid lane is moving. We see both of them here. And I probably should have based, but I think I'm trying to defend my top laner, who I suspect is still getting dove. My ulti's coming up soon, but you know, once again, it's like I can't commit too much time. My time is very valuable, so I just take a base here, go back to farming. So, in a stroke of luck, I'd say, honestly, my bot lane is able to take advantage of the fact that their support is moving to topside plays, and they do get a kill on Tristana. Unfortunately, they don't get the kill on Silas. He ends up cleaning them up after they get the Ezreal kill, but honestly, that's not too bad a play on its own. Like, 1 for 2 when we're behind, like I said earlier, not the worst thing in the world. And also, I see the chance for a trade kill here. I get out of vision, charge up the E, run him down, cancel his W, fortunately, with my E2. He doesn't understand how the interaction works. Get a shutdown kill. A lot of money injected into me. So once again, like, pretty low risk play. There's not really any chance of him turning on me. The kill happens pretty fast, so I'm able to get it before anybody else shows up. Don't even have to blow my ulti, so I can save that for an escape if need be. So I see them clear wards here. I really want to get this wave, but I also understand, once again, dying is terrible. I am the catalyst for the plays on my team. I accept that they're not going to let me fix the wave or farm the wave. I go back to the jungle and continue amassing resources. So my Braum kind of just runs it here. That's not a fight I want to take. I want to be clearing camps. We don't know where the rest of them are, and there's a high chance that if we start a fight in the jungle, Renekton will just TP on us. So I want to stay away from extended fights right now, more than anything, because extended fights are the ones that Renekton will TP to, and the two main guys who are strong on their team, once again, or where the biggest goal discrepancies are in this game are the Ezreal and the Renekton. So I'm looking for quick plays that stay away from both of them so they can't TP or show up to them and impact the fight with the gold lead. You know, we're down gold as a team, but we're not down gold individually everywhere. If we fight around me and this Renekton isn't here, we're actually generally favored to win. But once again, that comes with the pressure of I have to be the one making the good decisions, and I also have to accept sometimes things like this will happen where, you know, someone on my team will die, and I have to accept that we can't do anything. You know, if I overcommit to the fight and I die there, we probably lose the game. So it sucks that my bot lane wants to contest vision. I understand my bot lane wants to contest vision. It sucks that we can't contest the vision because you obviously like you always want to deny enemy vision when you can, but it's not a good play. It's my resources are too important, so I just leave the play. And having the judgment to do that is very important. So we're making another play here mid. I see our Nectin's blowing a lot of resources immediately. Unfortunately, I get exhausted here. My initial thought is I'm just going to take this one shot on the Thresh and get out. Unfortunately, I get exhausted, and this is honestly probably a misplay. I could have just ulted out and left the second I get exhausted here and proc my phase rush. I have the opportunity to leave here. I can just ult downwards and I'm gone. I kind of get greedy here. I'm thinking maybe I can kill the Thresh by fearing him one way, fearing the Renekton the other way, chasing him up and away and get out. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. I end up missing the fear on Renekton by a little bit. I'm able to clean up the Thresh kill, but I get traded by the Renekton. But we're actually down so much gold that even despite the fact that I was 5-1 and 3, he doesn't even get a shutdown on me. And we get clean up here too. So the game is looking really grim here. We're going to lose mid T1, which is one of the best towers in the game for stalling games out when you're behind. Obviously, I die, so anytime I'm off the map and not generating or not collecting resources is pretty bad. So the game is looking pretty bad. It looks even worse now that we're going to lose the dragon because I'm dead. I believe Tristana just kind of runs it down to get tower damage. You know, we do end up coming back into this game based off of, once again, just making good plays. This is a pick that I wanted to look for. It's actually really unfortunate that I get blind spotted by him here, as you'll see. I can just show you the vision. This is a play I'm pinging to look for because I see all of them are bottom. This is a play where we'll have a numbers advantage. Unfortunately, yeah, it's very unfortunate. He crosses me right as I go. I lose vision of him, waste some time on the crab. But I see he's looking for the crab here. I want to fight. I believe he also understands because he's not an idiot, and he just gives it up. So lull for a bit. I believe I'm just farming out resources. And looks like we have a fight here. So I see Volbear is pulled the rift. I don't want to let him get it for free, so I just charge up here, force him to get off of it. I don't necessarily want to do the rift. The rift doesn't get us that much because we're so behind that it's hard for us to even get a foothold in the map to generate value from the rift. But we don't want them to get the rift because them rifting means probably a tier 2 gone, which means stalling out the game is much harder. Defending vision in our jungle is much harder, which also means setting up plays that are anywhere near good for us also becomes much harder. So just defend the rift a bit here. Doesn't cost me a lot of time. I don't really have anything to farm right now. It's close. So we're just looking for good plays, and this is one we find. Basically, we don't really know where Silas is, but we see Renekton's in the bot side. I basically tell myself here, I'm waiting here for my rafters anyway. If Ezreal ease in, we can look. And lo and behold, he ease in. So that sets off the flags in my head. You immediately get in there, fear him away from the lantern, EM away from the lantern. Lilia gets to sleep on him. He falls asleep even after flashing. We get a kill. Big shutdown. They overcommit to the play. That's bad. The Renekton doesn't have a good thing to TP to, and we're able to clean up kills based off of a high percentage play, basically. It's a low percentage play if he has the E, but I specifically wait there, and I am not going for the play unless he E's. And it's because of things like this that we get back into the game. Yeah. Making plays around the people who are strong. And ton of shutdowns off of that. That's like we get 3k gold off of that alone. I believe this part doesn't end up going well for us, to be honest. This is a much scarier fight. We don't really have cooldowns anymore. I believe I just end up leaving. But yeah. So this video is getting long. I might make a second part of this where I talk about the rest of this game. But the gist of what I wanted to get across of just because you're behind doesn't mean you have to force. You still want to look for good plays. When you're behind, understand that when you're behind, doesn't when you're behind, but like when the rest of your team is behind, doesn't mean you're behind. It does mean you have to make plays smarter than you would otherwise. Just to give an example, like if all my lanes are winning, I could literally just pick someone in the side lane and run them down on repeat, and that is something I do in the Hecarim games where I get really fed. If But in games like this, you have to understand that just because you are strong doesn't mean you can do whatever you want as well. Like that's the other part of playing from behind that people fail with sometimes. I am very strong. I have the most gold on my team by far. If I tried to kill this guy in the side lane, he's going to own me because just because I'm ahead doesn't mean I can do whatever I want to the other people on the team who are ahead as well. So that's the gist of it. I might finish out the rest of this game another time, but it's basically just similar things happening over and over. Of I look for high percentage plays that we can win even with a gold deficit, because I'm the cattle. While my team's at a gold deficit, I'm not at a gold deficit versus most of the guys on their team. So if I initiate the play in an advantageous position or with a numbers advantage or a positioning advantage, then despite us being behind as a team, we can rally off of what I do to get back into the game. So yeah, we do end up winning this game. But yeah, this is already like very long. I understand I used to make longer videos in the past, but it would basically be another like 30 minutes and be talk about the same things. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I don't know if I'll be making another another video anytime soon, but I did want to get something out because I have been playing a lot, and I did think this is a cool game to go over. Just because, yeah, it's unique to play a game where all your lanes lose, but no one, well, people were spamming FF, but it's unique to play a game where all your lanes lose, but you have a chance to come from behind and play back into it, which I think is sorely missing with the attitudes of a lot of League players nowadays. So, did want to kind of show off what it looks like to play from behind, especially as a jungler, which is one of the hardest roles to play from behind when your lanes are losing. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you around.